me some more though. Oh, I think I found my mojo. And I ain't going broke no more. True. Got these little haters mad. Why? Cause I'm really, really in my bag. Right. Invest and make it double back twice. Just a younger living that fast life. Shout out to my DJ. We about to run the streets like a relay. All about my cheese like I'm Green Bay. Packages coming in like it's eBay. Oh, and we know just how to get it all. You gotta deal with playing, you know I get it all. Hit the block and make it somersault. If it ain't about money, then I don't get involved. It's that A hitter. My rolling like a skate figure. Right now, you looking like a steak dinner. Better leave before we take you off that plate, hitter. Oh, and you don't wanna go there. Look around, ain't no goofies in here nowhere. Ooh, look, shout out to my DJ. Couple shows hit the road on the freeway. Oh, they showing love like it's V-Day. Every day is lit like it's my B-Day. You know I had to do this thing the G-Way. Cause they gon' wanna hear this song on replay. Shout out to my DJ. We about to run the streets like a relay. All about my cheese like I'm Green Bay. Packages coming in like it's eBay. Oh, and we know just how to get it all. You gotta deal with playing, you know I get it all. Hit the block and make it somersault. If it ain't about money, then I don't get involved.
Oh, yeah. Welcome to the Boss Midday Show. I'm your host, William King. We'll keep it rolling, y'all. That was Shiffy. Oh, yeah. It's about to be springtime, y'all. Black History Month. Oh, yeah. Be purposeful, y'all. Learn something new. We got to break down these stereotypes and these isms. The only way is to do it. Boss with me.
Steady, tryna wipe it down. I'm getting money right now, need no lap ties holding me down. Baby, I'm hot like summer. Yeah, I'ma do what I wanna, white steady. Tryna wipe it down. I'm getting money right now, need no lap ties holding me down. Baby, I'm hot like summer. I've been on the move, road running. Ain't on your cost for nothing. I've been on my grind, yeah. Can't kick it, baby. So I ain't got time. You said you love me. Would you still be if my money ain't right? Tell me the truth, baby. Talk to me nice. Think that I'm holding the back of your mind. Chasing these millions, ain't chasing no dimes. Love won't pay the bills. Love like mine get you pills. So I'm careful who deal with me. I'ma catch a case if you ain't really for me. Shooters even better drill for me. Fake love, yeah, I'm starting to feel it. Gotta split the block, someone snitching these stitches. And if we get money, don't speak how we did it. Can't go with nobody who ain't with it. If I fuck with you, we running up digits. Can't stop at 6 figures, I'm $1 million, baby. I can't be your little baby. Baby, I'm hot like summer. Yeah, I'ma do what I wanna, white steady. Tryna wipe it down. I'm getting money right now, need no lap ties holding me down. Baby, I'm hot like summer. Yeah, I'ma do what I wanna, white steady. Tryna wipe it down. I'm getting money right now, need no lap ties holding me down. I need somebody who really about it. My own shouldn't drive, I carry my plate. They running their lips, but ain't really on shit. I told you once, don't speak what I did. It's a dead mouse in the trap. You play with my cheese, you just black. That's how you silence a rat. You making noise, tell truth, you ain't speaking the facts. Babe, I'm gonna keep it 100. Would you rather have me tell you a lie? Giving you options, you don't love me or not. Hold on to the thought while I handle this drop. Babe, I was gonna be right back. You didn't understand that. I had to hang up these racks. I'm not your typical catch, like rich sex in the back of the Phantom. Stars on the ceiling, it's not a rental. Been a long day, me good, how you been, boo? Ain't tryna argue about these, stay busy on the road. You see that I'm here with you. No, I ain't tryna argue about. Stay busy on the road, you know. Baby, I'm hot like summer. Yeah, I'ma do what I wanna, white steady. Tryna wipe it down. I'm getting money right now, need no lap ties holding me down. Baby, I'm hot like summer. Yeah, I'ma do what I wanna, white steady. Tryna wipe it down. I'm getting money right now, need no lap ties holding me down. Holding me down. If I run it up, you gon' be around. Your lap ties, that's holding me down.
Right on the show, TNT. That's Fade on the keys.
People that fight for it. We the people that work. We the people that we the people that live. We the people survive. We the people that stand up. We the people that try. We the people that give. We the people that hope. We the people that want peace, but we the people that know. Ain't no peace when police killing in these streets. Ain't no love, and it ain't no drug that's gonna change how it be. And at night I hear the shooting cause it wake me out my sleep. Damn, another brother died cause of crooked police. We the people gotta speak, gotta rise up out the seat. Don't nobody really care, a brother die about every week. More killing from your brothers than the police. COP 12 one time and Blue Street. Supposed to protect the peace, but you act like our enemy. Run up on us with your pistols and put us down on our knees. Then you search us, don't find nothing, and still don't want us to leave. You start shooting like it's a movie, we figure it's OV. We the people that rise, we the people that hustle, we the people that struggle, we the people that fight for it, we the people that work, we the people that hurt, we the people that live. We the people survive. We the people that stand up. We the people that try. We the people that give. We the people that hope. We the people that want peace, but we the people that know.
We the people they call savages, recreating our images as primitive. With slavery days made it definitive, based on race. What a disgrace, man, that's ridiculous. It still ain't changing, it's sad to say. We gotta live through this, living under tyranny, under guise of democracy, where people have a voice. Some people living in poverty. Our hoods are still the same, where it's nothing but broken property. And jobs don't pay enough. More money comes from a robbery. Solution is to put us in prison, never to listen. Not understanding the issue, problems nobody fixing. They try and hold us down, and still my brothers uplifted because they blind to our struggle, but we got vision. T-Bone.
We the people that rise. We the people that hustle. We the people that struggle. We the people that fight for it. We the people that work. We the people that hurt. We the people that live. We the people survive. We the people that stand up. We the people that try.
Hey.
We the people that give. We the people that hope. We the people that want peace, but we the people that know.
Oh yeah, we that people, y'all, without a doubt. They say they don't want to teach African history down in Florida. Man, I'm telling you, free people, they educate their own. Don't get mad at me. Shouts out to all the daycares that stayed open during the pandemic. We'll keep it rolling, y'all. You know how we do it over here. It's Black History Month, and I like to break down stereotypes. All year, without a doubt, we are a research radio station over here, and we study anthropology. We all black. Boss with me.
All my life, I don't have no real enemies, but I know everybody is not a friend to me. I show my people love, that's why I always get it back. And I stand up for my family, one phone call, I will attack. And real recognize real, so I don't see you haters. And I'm not talking about my brothers, I'm talking about these snakes. They smiling in our face, but turning us against ourselves. Killing all the black kings to keep the queens from getting out. We 40 cal, self-trained, so we don't need the army busting down my door. I wish these martial law try me. We some psychopaths, raised in the projects, and I ain't met them. Yeah, who can dodge a tech? Hey, cause this the year of the black power. We going all in, man, this shit is ours. Hey, we moving forward, ain't no turning back. The Islanders is born in America, being black. Hey, cause this the year of the black power. We going all in, man, this shit is ours. Hey, we moving forward, ain't no turning back. The odds against us born in America, being black. They call us militant and racist cause we still resist the brainwashing and genocide by this government. My people waking up and now at least we more conscious with plans of unity, but still we must proceed with caution and breaking the cycle of thinking like slaves. Gather up knowledge until your brain to change the situation. Death is what our race is facing. Trade balance, that's not doing nothing. We tried it Martin's way and still our people struggling. It's time to educate and elevate from all the hate. Our future generations is at stake. We don't have time to waste. Cause this the year of the Black Power. We going all in, man. This shit is ours. Forward, ain't no turning back. The odds against us born in the black. Hey, cause this the year of the Black Power. We going all in, man. This shit is ours. Hey, we move forward, ain't no turning back. The odds against us born in America being black. Black power. Black power. Black power. Black power. Black power. Black power.
I'm a legend. You and me are not the same chick. Bloodline nigga, I'm off. Okay, I'm a king. Yeah, I'm a legend. If I die right now, I'm a legend. I'm a legend. You and me are not the same chick. Bloodline nigga, I'm off. Okay, I'm a king. Yeah, I'm a legend. If I die right now, I'm a legend.
I'm like Bruce Lee. When I enter the dragon, girl, I'm like Tech 9. When I enter the dragon, I'm like Spike Lee, cause I do the right thing. Boy, I'm like Chief Keef, cause I'm gang. I am just like Malcolm, get it by any means. I am just like Martin Luther, even though I'm a king. I am Huey P. Newton, I'm black, I know I got the power. I am Hannibal Lecter, all these beats I devour. I am Wiz Khalifa, I've been smoking back to back. I am just like you, I've been getting to the bag. I am just like me. I feel like ain't nobody better. I am just like Flame. Well, you know about what I'm a legend.
You and me are not the same chick. Bloodline nigga, I'm off. Okay, I'm a king. Yeah, I'm a legend. If I die right now, I'm a legend. I'm a legend. You and me are not the same chick. Bloodline nigga, I'm off. Okay, I'm a king. Yeah, I'm a legend. If I die right now, I'm a legend.
Yeah, I'm a legend. Yeah, I'm perfection. How you gonna kill me? Nigga, I'm the weapon. I ain't worried about the killers. I ain't worried about the hitters. I'm worried about money and how we gon' get it. I'm rich, I'm full of them bags. I'm just like Hawk. I'm known to smash. I crash the beats. I stuff the streets. I'm just like August. I'm known for heat. Fresh out the pot. I'm dripping with salt. Key to the whip. I'm known to take off. Squad the team. We all go off. But I'm totally dancing. Now who's the boss?
You and me are not the same chick. Bloodline nigga, I'm off. Okay, I'm a king. Yeah, I'm a legend. If I die right now, I'm a legend. I'm a legend. You and me are not the same chick. Bloodline nigga, I'm off. Okay, I'm a king. Yeah, I'm a legend. If I die right now, I'm a legend.
The sun, I'm fully melanated. Black power fist in the sky. Captivate the mass when I speak. Every head bow indigenous, glorified king, oh precious man child. Blackfoot, color of copper. I came from the dirt, legendary, mine in the sky. My body's mother earth. Walked through the valley of death and came out a king. Joseph, they ain't cut from my cloth. I saw so many dreams. I'm in the den with the lions. Now they calling me Daniel. I went to sleep as a passion. I woke up as a pharaoh. No longer will I walk, I'm riding on a camel. Zulu warrior, going narrow eyes on the spirit.
You and me are not the same chick. Bloodline nigga, I'm off. Okay, I'm a king. Yeah, I'm a legend. If I die right now, I'm a legend. I'm a legend. You and me are not the same chick. Bloodline nigga, I'm off. Okay, I'm a king. Yeah, I'm a legend. If I die right now, I'm a legend. I'm a
Oh yeah, without doubt, if you're a boss listener, you're a legend, man. We broadcast in the most historic area of the city of Omaha, 24th and Lake. Make no mistake. Without doubt, baby. You listen to the Boss Midday Show. Got a very special guest. She gonna be sliding through shortly. Oh yeah, without a doubt, we're gonna bring a very special guest coming in. You know, she like to kick some propaganda every once in a while. She like to kick some propaganda. So we're gonna bring her in here shortly. I ain't gonna let you know who she is. She's gonna be my surprise guest on this Love Yourself Thursday. Oh yeah, without a doubt. If this is your first time listening to 95.7 The Boss, we do things different. Without a doubt, baby, we do things different. We actually show love to our neighbors. Everybody else talk about it. We bout it. All the music that you hear is from the Burbs, the Bluffs, the O. Oh yeah, your neighbors, your uncles, your nieces, your aunts. On this Love Yourself Thursday, we show love to our neighbors, baby. I know on Sundays y'all pray on it, and then on Mondays, y'all forget about it. But here at The Boss, we put it in practice. We are a research radio station. Our goal to modify our behavior so we're better individuals, better citizens, and better family members. What's wrong with being a little bit better than you were yesterday? See, we put it in practice. And so on this Love Yourself Thursday, we demand all year that you love yourself today by doing something that demonstrate that you love yourself. Oh yeah, put it in action. When we, like I said, we don't talk about it. We bout it over here. And so if you like to read, write, count, hang out with your people, with your loved ones, with your homies, going to a movie, smoking a cigar, flying to Vegas, whatever what you want to do to prove that you love yourself, get it done today. Get it done today. Be purposeful today. You can't expect to get love from anyone else. Only thing you can expect from others to lie, cheat, steal, rob, kill. That's all you can expect from other people. We're in the free world. This is life in America. But when you lie to yourself, oh yeah, when you don't show love to yourself, people will take you for granted. And I got the message that, oh yeah, I've been taken for granted. Yeah, I heard that message. You know, sometimes you got to get absent so people will find out your worth. And so the discussion today, oh yeah, are you getting paid for your worth? Are you being taken for granted? I'm gonna open up the lines, y'all. The phone lines 402-763-6781. If you feel like you've been taken for granted, and what have you done to solve that problem? Have you separated from those people that have taken you for granted? What have you done to relieve that burden, that stress per se? 95.7 The Boss, we do things different over here, baby. Love Yourself Thursday. Be purposeful on loving yourself because you can't love anyone else until you love yourself. Without a doubt, it's impossible to love anyone else unless you love yourself. Here at 95.7 The Boss, you know, I grew up in the projects. And as you see, I've seen way more violence outside the projects. For real. They carry AR-15s and targets. See, we never did no stuff. We never thought about no stuff like that. We couldn't get no weapons like that. So as we celebrate Black History Month, I want everyone to be purposeful. If we're going to demonstrate more love, we have to. If we're going to have more love in this community, we have to demonstrate it. So we're going to continue with the music. Without a doubt, I just want to let you know, if you are a Boss listener, you are VIP. Without a doubt, baby, you are a very important person. You're important. And so, oh yeah, I got your theme song. Oh yeah, for all you car stars, I got you a theme song because you're VIP. Boss with me. Shouts out to Letty Rowe. Wide body. God rest his soul. Detroit's in the house. Oh, you know how we do it, baby. We worldwide. 95.7. Boss with me.
I show no ID. You know why? Cause I'm VIP. I got a pocket full of green, and you know what this means? That means that I'm VIP. They show nothing but love when I'm up in the club. Why? Cause I'm VIP. You wanna hang with me? You wanna hang with me? Why? Cause I'm VIP. I'm VIP. Hey, when I step in the club, they already know who's the best in the club. From the east to the west, or the rest of the clubs. When I come through, they show love and throw it. I'm in the back, with a bottle for the jack in a house full of piss. I got that sex in the club. Pocket full of green, and I'm fresh and so clean. I'm so fresh and so clean. I'm so fresh in the club. Yep. Hey, I'm a party on. Yeah, I'm a party on. Mommy got Bacardi line, said it's party time. Damn, that Bacardi gone. Ain't killing my vibe, ain't killing my high. Yeah, I'm in my party zone. I got my drink and my two-step, my drink and my two-step. I'm a party to the party gone until it's over. I show no ID. You know why? Cause I'm VIP. I got a pocket full of green. You know what this means? That means that I'm VIP. They show nothing but love when I'm up in the club. Why? Cause I'm VIP. You wanna hang with me? You wanna hang with me? Why? Cause I'm VIP. I'm VIP.
Hey, I'm on cloud nine, up in the club and I'm feeling fine. Never a nickel, baby, always a dime. And like fine wine, I get better with time. I'm feeling fancy free. I represent my team, the 313. Yeah, we VIP. Dressed to impress as you can clearly see. But this is crazy though. Yeah, this is crazy though. I'm the chick in the clique. Yeah, with that crazy flow. You need to stop all the hating. Yeah, you can save it, yo. You wanna roll with me, meet me in VIP. Yeah, and that's Lady Rowe. That's me. Yeah.
I show no ID. You know why? Cause I'm VIP. I got a pocket full of green, and you know what this means? That means that I'm VIP. They show nothing but love when I'm up in the club. Why? Cause I'm VIP. You wanna hang with me? You wanna hang with me? Why? Cause I'm VIP. I'm VIP.
VIP, wide body, and your boy Reek. Came in on 10, and it's all on me. I could've did the long sleeve or the 2C. At the bar, buy it out like it's all on me. VIP, walk in, feeling all tipsy. It ain't a problem for the night because my dog with me. 10 at me right now, counting all 50. 745, back to back with the 550. I'm playing rounds in the parking lot of Forgiatos. They bang on my wrist like a gold bottle. I walked in the club looking like I hit the lotto. Low key, mixed breeze, sipping on Moscato. I make it rain, make it flood, make the weather change. Turn the whole club up like a hurricane. VIP spend it all, buying everything, running through a whole 12 like a shoestring.
I show no ID. You know why? Cause I'm VIP. I got a pocket full of green, and you know what this means? That means that I'm VIP. They show nothing but love when I'm up in the club. Why? Cause I'm VIP. You wanna hang with me? You wanna hang with me? Why? Cause I'm VIP. I'm VIP.
Oh, yeah. If you're a boss listener, you are VIP. You are a very important person. Without doubt, baby. Unconditional love. You know, I had my grandkids, you know, unconditional love. They love me. They call me Pop, but one call me Mama. You know, he's 2 years old, so he got all his language together. Yeah, he got it all together. That's all right. I'm Pop from the 6-year-old, but from the 2-year on Mama. You know what I mean? Every once in a while, he might say a da or a pa, but that's it right now. Omaha, the birds, the bluffs. Today is Love Yourself Thursday. Be purposeful on loving yourself today.
Ooh, I like that.
You know, no one can love you more than you. It's impossible. I know we're looking for gratification from the outside, the external, but it has to be internal. I go through it. You know, I go through it too, so I go to the mountaintop. Oh, yeah, I go to the mountaintop. You know my last name is King. I don't know if I knew that or not. Every once in a while, we got to visit the mountaintop. I just got back from Denver. I went out there on the...
You was really at the mountaintop.
Yeah, I was on the mountaintop for real. I said, I got to go talk to God. You know, going to Denver, a mile high, so I'm a little bit closer to God, so my prayers get go up a little faster.
Just a wee bit. Huh?
Yeah, just a wee bit.
Just a wee bit. Closer to the Lord.
Yeah, I got to get closer to the Lord. And then I go to the desert, too. I go to Vegas.
Oh, see now,
Oh.
right to Sin City.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's where God is. That's where God is. That's where God is. Y'all know where God is. So
Is that true? Is that true?
yeah, it is.
God is in Las Vegas.
He's in Las Vegas too. So Omaha, the Birds of Plus. I got a very special guest. You know how these stars are. They got their own noun, verbs, adjectives, prepositional phrases. Oh yes, some predicates. But she's a great writer, so I don't know if she uses prepositional phrases.
I do
I
all
do.
the time.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna let her introduce herself because she's.
I'm in the studio.
Oh yeah, you know she's one of the greatest poets that ever came out of here.
Oh bless you.
We got some top ones that came out of here, and she's one of them.
Well, thank you.
I'm gonna let her introduce herself.
Okay.
We'll get right into a dialogue because she's still doing greatness.
Oh well, I'm Michelle Troxclair, and I'm here to talk about what is happening, what's going down for Black History Month.
Okay.
With the Benson Theater and with Culture House, we are partnering.
Okay.
To celebrate 50 years of hip hop.
50 years of hip hop.
50 years of hip hop. So we're doing a series of events called an Ode to Hip Hop.
Okay. All right. Now, I know, are you participating? Tell me, what was your first hip hop cassette?
Oh my goodness.
Because I don't know if you go back, you're young and see, I'm dating myself because I could tell you my story, my first hip hop cassette.
Well, I predate cassettes.
I don't know about that.
So I did have a hip hop, the hibbit to the hibbit, hip hop, Rappers Delight. It was on an 8-track.
You had it on an 8-track?
I had it on an 8-track.
Okay. What year was that?
That would have been 79.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
So it wasn't my 8-track.
I know it wasn't your 8-track because you weren't driving there.
Well, no, we had a player in the house.
Okay. So
and
you had
what
one of
happened
vintage.
is a friend of my parents,
Mm-hmm.
no, it was one of their CETA program people.
Okay.
Anyway, brought it to the house and I heard it for the first time. And I asked her if I could keep it, the 8-track.
Okay.
And she was like, yeah, you can keep that. And I played that over and I had that memorized backwards and forwards.
Right.
So there was that. But my first actual hip hop cassette was probably Run DMC.
Mm-hmm. So that's when I was in college, probably high school.
That was high school.
High
that
school.
Was the year of our Lord. Oh no, that was middle school. I was in middle school.
Okay, I was in high school. So now,
okay.
So I want to ask how mature you are.
Oh, I'm proud of my age. I'm proud the Lord has allowed me to see 53, about to be 54 in a couple weeks.
Okay, you're a youngin'. Okay, you're young.
Yeah. So I was in middle school.
Okay, so I was in high school. My first cassette tape, my first hip hop tape I brought was a group called King Tim III. Well, actually, the name of the track was called King Tim III. The group is called Fatback, and that was one of the first. That was one of the first hip hop tapes to ever come out. I think that was probably 78, 79.
Yeah.
My mama, we took the bus up to Kmart on 72nd and Ames, where the old where the current Home Depot is. So we go back a ways.
Oh yeah.
It gets 50 years of hip hop, y'all.
50 years.
And we've been a part of all of that. So what will we experience? Because I heard you guys are having a competition too, right? Because they're gonna have the finale at the Benson Theater, but they're gonna have the prelims over at the Culture House.
Right. Well, let me be clear because people are often confused about hip hop, thinking that's just the music.
Okay.
But hip hop is a culture. It includes fashion. It includes graffiti art, dance, of course, rap. To some extent, some spoken word. But in any case, and b-boying, beatboxing, and body percussions, and all of that. So all of that is included under this one umbrella. And so we try to pay homage to as much of that as we possibly could. And so we're starting this Saturday and Sunday over at the Culture House, the preliminary rounds of DJ battle. Okay. Because for anybody who knows anything about the history of hip hop, it started with the DJ, DJ Kool Herc.
Without a doubt.
So DJ Kool Herc started off with the two turntables, where he would play the bridge or the intro of a song. He'd have two of the same record albums. So he would play the bridge of one on one turntable, go back to that same bridge so he could continue the loop.
Mhm.
And he did these really big house parties. He became known throughout the Bronx
Mhm.
as the house party DJ. You know, there was no house party without DJ Kool Herc. Well, he found after a while that in order to keep the crowd hype, he needed a hype man, so to speak.
Uh-huh.
And so entered the picture our first official MC, Coke LaRock.
Cool. What?
Coke LaRock.
Coke. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And so
I thought it was Cora. No, yeah, well, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, back in the day, there's like Coles and
Yeah, it was
males and
yeah, it was a lot of strange names back during that time. But let me just be clear.
Right.
We needed to pay homage
Mhm.
to the DJ.
without the
Uh-huh.
DJ, I mean, you wouldn't have the flavor that.
Right. It was about the beats
Mhm.
and getting the people hyped and getting the people on the dance floor. And so that's where hip hop started. And then as we moved along, you know, the Bronx is where it started. Then it trickled over to Queens.
Mhm.
And then from there it trickled out to Staten Island and,
Okay.
and the other boroughs. But yeah, it just took on a life of its own. And it's part of African American culture. And for those who want to take my full history of hip hop class, I'm teaching a shortened version of it on February 19th at the Culture House.
Okay.
Yeah.
What time is that going down? And how can people
11
participate?
o'clock a.m.
Okay.
It's free to the public. I just say show up.
Okay.
Just
Show up.
Yeah, I'm teaching the abbreviated version of my history of hip hop course. My elongated version takes it all the way back to Africa.
Okay.
So the roots in West Africa. But this one is just discussing the 50 years of hip hop.
Okay. Great.
Mhm.
Now, performances. Will we
Mhm.
see dancers? Are we going?
We have a concert
Okay.
on February 12th. And the winner of the DJ battle will be spinning
Okay.
at that concert.
Okay.
But we have a full band accompanying Light Pole. Oh, we got a cooler. We got Light Pole, we got Marcy Yates, and we got Thailand Music.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
No, it's a telemarketer.
Oh, Lord.
You know, telemarketer.
They're trying to sell us some hip hop.
Yeah, you know how try to get in the rhythm too.
Yeah. But there's that. We're showing the film Crush Groove on
Okay.
February 8th. And I cannot tell you the importance of film
Right, man.
in bringing hip hop culture into people's living rooms.
Right.
So we had MTV, and then we had some films. We had that showed breakdancing. We had, you know, all kinds. But we decided we were going to show Crush Groove, which is a fictional or based on it's fictional, but it's based on the rise of Def Jam Records.
Right.
So people can understand the birth of a major record label that cater to the hip hop audience.
Heck yeah, when I down.
Mhm. So I encourage everybody to wear their best 80s hip hop gear and come on out to Benson Theater on February 8th to see Crush Groove. We will have popcorn.
Man.
Yeah.
So that should be a nice time.
Yeah, and then on the 12th, of course, come out to see Light Pole, aka LP, Thailand Music, and Marcy Yates of the Culture House, all at Benson Theater. They'll be performing with a live band.
Mhm.
And the last thing on our list, last but not least, on February 22nd, which is my birthday, by the way,
Okay.
we'll be showing a documentary by KRS-One.
Oh, I love KRS.
Right, where he talks about the impact of, at the time he made the documentary, it was
Mhm.
40 years of hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
And then there will be a Q&A afterwards featuring myself and Houston Alexander, who is our very own hip hop aficionado.
Without a doubt.
And yeah,
I know he's still doing a culture.
the Culture
Shock.
Shock Tour.
Mhm.
I was with him at Laura Dodge Elementary for the last one. So much fun.
Mhm.
Where he talks about all those elements of hip hop.
Without a doubt. I saw
Mhm.
the Facebook posts, and the young people were very, very excited.
Mhm.
And,
Yeah.
You know, hip hop is going to live forever. And, you know, I was hanging out with my homeboy when I was in Denver. His name is Rabbit. I don't know if y'all know him. He's one of the good ball players, and he's a little bit younger than I am. I don't. Blues is okay, but it's not my number one.
Yeah.
The thing. And so, but he's younger than I am. He like blues. So all ages like all different types of music. So it doesn't matter how old you are or how young you are, because I love hip hop regardless.
Yeah.
And I'll be 58 in 2 months. And so I'm always gonna love hip hop versus any other genre. But I do love, our music, especially like the Barcades and Cameo, that genre of music too, because
and so much was sampled from those artists. The number one sampled artist, of course, was James Brown. But I listened to some of the kids' music today, and I had one of my young people in the car with me. I was taking him to work, I believe, and one of the newer songs came out. I said, I'm gonna play you the original when this is over. And of course, the Tom Tom Club was the beat that he said, it's exactly the same. I said, yeah. A lot of y'all's music has sampled from artists that came out in the 60s, 70s, and early 80s.
Right.
So that
original
gives
music.
it flavor,
Yeah, again, original music. We want to encourage, especially young people, to play an instrument. You can make money for the rest of your life once you learn how to play an instrument. And once you have that flavor, you'll never. And even at being a DJ, you can always, spin records. That's always going to be relevant.
I'm looking at the producers of today, who have kind of supplanted the old school DJ, the music producer, because they have so much technology available to them, not just the TR-808 or the SP1200. They've got some other things to play with.
Right.
They're really being creative with their music, and it's almost like it's a new musical instrument. And that technology is not easy to learn. So I give kudos to those young people, even some of these old folks who are learning this new technology. But sometimes you just really can't beat learning how to read original music and how to play musical instruments.
Right.
That's why I love Omaha Girls Rock and some of these other organizations that are really taking on that task and teaching our young people. Because previously we didn't have access. We couldn't afford the instrument, or we couldn't afford the lessons.
Right.
So,
right. Right. Well, Beethoven, Mozart, I tell everyone, James Brown, Michael Jackson, Prince, Madonna, Janet Jackson, Aretha Franklin, Patti LaBelle, those music that's going to be around forever. Like Teddy Pendergrass, Luther, they're going to be around because the way they wrote and the music that they created. So it transcends time.
Yeah. Another class I teach, because young people just think it's about rhyming. They don't understand the musical concepts behind rap, which stands for rhythm and poetry. And so, helping them understand that music goes in 8-count bars. And when they talk about bars, now you know what you're talking about.
Okay.
You're talking about an 8-count bar, and tempo is how fast or slow those bars go.
Okay.
That kind of thing. Teaching them those basics.
Foundations.
Right.
And I just learned something. I didn't know rap meant
rhythm and poetry.
Rhythm and poetry. So poetry has always been around. Actually, rap probably started even earlier than we give credit to, because there was people, producing that kind of content back in the 30s and 40s.
Well, before that, we brought that art form over from West Africa. There are 2 poems that Henry Louis Gates, professor of Black Studies at Harvard, he's written extensively about one of them specifically, and that's The Signifying Monkey.
Okay.
Which is a rhyming poem that came from West Africa. And another one is called Shine.
Okay.
And so that's where we get signifying from. And, and all those elements that we use, not only in our music, but also in church, call and response, all of that comes directly from West Africa, that rhythmic way of telling stories.
Okay.
Body percussions, which includes beatbox and ham bone, where we're that. All of that comes from West Africa. And so when we talk about the history of it, it's been evolving over time.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have added our technology and our experiences and purpose and all of that. All of that is morphed over time to what we see today. And we wouldn't have hip hop as the global phenomena that it is without these early predecessors, our ancestors, giving us that rhythm and that love of music.
Now you're an artist.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna ask you a serious question, because right now I feel that we don't need anyone to be an intermediary in manifesting our God-given talents.
Right.
So say we got some lawyer or some agent or some executive at some studio want you to sign a contract, and now you have control of your intelligent content, and we see it over and over.
Yeah.
To me, one of the smartest person was blind.
Yeah.
And he
Ray
had
Charles.
Ray Charles had the best. I think it got about 60 cent out of almost every dollar, versus these artists are only get what, 8 cents, 10 cents out of every
If
dollar.
that on some, well, back then it was like a record album had 12 points. And most artists only ended up with 1 point off of that album. And that's how they divvied up money. And so if you listen to Lisa Left Eye Lopez, she would tell you how TLC went bankrupt after having the number one albums for several years, number one albums for several years. She'll tell you how it's done. So when you're talking about signing contracts, it's about controlling your masters is one. The other is not having control over your artistic content. And so another one you might want to read up on is Ice Cube. When Jerry Heller and Eazy-E were trying to get him to sign with NWA, he refused to sign the contract. And that meant that when he was ready to walk away, he could do that. And because they had no contract, his music is his music. They didn't have any rights to it. So songs that he was responsible for writing, which was most of them, you know, he was off the hook, you know, where Dr. Dre, it was the other way around. Everything Dre had done during that time. And thereafter, till the end of his contract, Eazy-E and Jerry Heller made money on.
Yep. So what's your advice for the day's artists? Because I mean, because they don't have to, because with the internet, you have all these platforms to distribute your content. You can market yourself or hire independent people from Fiverr and as well all these other people to help you market. Is it necessary to sign with a label any longer? Can we self promote? Right now, I see last week Congress was investigating Sound Exchange. I mean, not Sound Exchange, Ticketmaster and Live Nation because of the monopoly that they have.
Right. And so I think the music industry is going through its growing pains. Before there was a tangible item that you would purchase.
CD, cassette, 8-track, or album.
Record album, yeah. And so you had this tangible piece of music that you could purchase. And so there had to be a distributor and somebody who was responsible for the marketing to sell that piece of music. And so now with the advent of the iPod and then streaming and
first was Napster.
Yes. And all of that, with the advent of this new technology, I call it new. I'm dating
evolving technology.
Yes, this evolving technology. What we are seeing now, and Prince was a major player in all of this as well. Prince was one of the first ones who stepped away and strictly was using electronic ways of marketing his music and getting his music out and putting up those obstacles and roadblocks so you couldn't illegally download his music. And so they're going through these growing pains. So how does the artist get paid for their work, including the writers and all of that? And the new distributors, which are your Apple Music, your Tidal, and all of those, and Spotify, SoundCloud, all of those. So how does everybody get paid? And I think that's still very much up in the air because there's minimal payments still going to the artists.
Yeah, without doubt, you gotta have so many spins in order to get generate $1.
Yeah,
and they base that industry off. You get 0.0. Man, they are just so. So I got an idea. We're creating our own system. We're creating our own system. We're creating our own system of transparency, and you control your own money. See, that's what the other platforms don't do. They don't let you control your own money.
Right.
We're going to be creating that here at the Boss, without a doubt. We're working on that right now because the power is within us. The internet. This gives us the ability to do everything that the old brick and mortars that you talked about did. We don't have to pay no postage now.
Right.
So there's less expenses on the distribution side.
No bricks and mortar sites to sell. Yeah. It's right now should be the glory days of artists, with them getting all this money.
Yeah, without doubt, because they really can control their own stuff, but they like massa. Y'all like massa. Y'all artists too, and then y'all sensitive. Y'all the most sensitive artists, are most sensitive, but in real sense, they cry. I'm a crying DJ.
Wait, leave me alone. Wait, you triggering me right now.
So I'm telling us, man, we got the power. Today is Love Yourself Thursday, and we call it that for a reason. No one loves you more than you. And if we're not developing methodologies that of transparency, of trust, and of self-worth.
Yeah. And we've got to get out of the colonized mind.
Without a doubt. That's what's destroying us.
That holds us back on so many levels. And sometimes we can't even think outside that box. It's interesting.
You brought that up for a reason.
Yeah.
Now you had a chance to go to Ghana.
Yes.
Now, of course they've been colonized, but yet you're still in a different continent. What's the difference as far as the mindset, and do you see a difference mindset from the colonialist mind over here versus the minds in the homeland?
I think I recommend that every African American get outside this country for a period of time. And the reason I say that is because we are so polarized by race in this country, and that's not true in other parts of the world.
Okay.
So when you go to Ghana or other parts with countries of all brown people, they're not, everything isn't predicated on race.
Okay.
And so they don't see themselves necessarily as Black people. They see themselves as Ghanaians.
Okay.
So there's that piece. And with that being said, then, with their not being concerned necessarily about race, that gets rid of a whole slew of barriers and obstacles that we have in this country. Some of them imposed by old white men, and some of them imposed by ourselves.
Without doubt.
Yeah, out of years of oppression and years of colonization, where we honestly believe in our spirits that white is better, white is right. And so assimilation is the way to get ahead, or, making sure that we change hearts and minds of white people. If they like us, they'll treat us better. And what we have been finding over the past few years is that with all the marching, all the protests, all of the Black Power movements we've been through, because it's on a pendulum, it swings back and forth. We have not changed the hearts and minds of most white people. We have a lot of white liberals who believe that maybe we shouldn't be discriminated against, but in their souls, they still believe they're superior. We are an inferior human.
Interesting.
If human at all.
Without doubt. So that's why I always break down the science of anthropology, because I'm smart, and I let them know that I'm smart, and I brag off my education because my mama picked cotton for real. She couldn't go to school. So, but she made sure her son was smart. And I understand that the first bones were found in Africa, Ethiopia. That's why I got my map up there.
Oh yeah. Oh
And
yeah.
and
It's the birth of all humanity.
and we're older than 2023.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We're older than 2000. I know
It's like 40, 50,000 years ago is when the Homo sapiens began to make their appearance.
and they migrated all over the earth.
Yeah.
If you live below the equator, most of our noses are wider because of the heat. If you live
That's the way to cool the
above,
brain.
yeah. If you live above, your nose is a little narrower because it's colder, so you can't have the heat, all that coldness to hit your brain also. So you have more hair if you're north of the equator than those that are south of the equator. So there's going to be physiological changes in man over time.
Yeah, you adapt to your
thousands of years.
surroundings, your environment, but it takes thousands of years for those adaptations to take place. The fact is, we are all, and it's proven by science, we're all human beings. We're all Homo sapiens.
Right, we're all the same.
And what's so sad about this is they have taken, and I watched a documentary on cold climate cultures. Cold climate cultures, because of lack of resources.
Yeah, and lack of vitamin D also.
But they became more
aggressive.
I would use the word savage.
What?
The reason I use that word.
Well, it's actually in their book. Is they call themselves barbarians and savage. It's in their own literature.
Right. And the reason I say that is when you are operating out of lack, that's fear-based. That creates a fear of doing without. And what happens when people are afraid?
They're more aggressive.
Yep. And
they tend to steal.
Right. And so
because I'm for a probation officer, and you can see it on a micro and a macro level when it happens in community. Pavlov theory.
Back to Ghana really fast, since we're speaking on this. What I noticed, and tying it in with hip hop culture and everything, what I found over there is, you know how we have our "woe is us" music, as I call it.
Woe is us music.
We got Tupac, So Many Tears. We got, these very poignant tales of our suffering.
Dear mama.
Yeah, all of that, and they don't have that.
That type of music?
No.
Interesting.
The whole time I was there, all that music was happy as hell.
Well, you know what? I saw a documentary. of some of the kids observing American music, and then we were saying, the N word in there, and they didn't understand it because they don't call themselves the N word.
No.
They don't call themselves N word because they haven't even conceptualized it.
No.
You know what I mean?
They don't have the baggage with a lot of language that we use over here. That's why I want people to get out of the United States and see how other people live in countries of brown people. I had the pleasure of visiting countries with very different types of brown people. I went to Tunisia, which was primarily Arabs.
Okay.
Peru, South American indigenous people. And they could care less about race. They could care less about all these things that we spend so much time and energy either having to fight or prove or legislate, and all of these things. They don't have that.
So if America on this Black History Day, this Black History Month, shouts out to the governor of Florida. We love you. We got potential of changing somebody. We got, everybody got a chance to learn. You know what I mean? The CRT, Furious. If we don't teach the truth, then you're lying to your own children.
Yeah.
Y'all so focused on the minority. We don't control the books. We don't write your books. Y'all can do what y'all want with your books. But why would you lie to your own children? Think about that. So everybody want to think focal is going to hurt me.
Yeah.
But no, look at the people that's making the legislation. It's actually going to hurt them more than it's going to hurt us. Because when anytime someone's ignorant, Ain't they call them in? Don't they call them in? Ain't people? I think that's what ignorant means, the N word.
I say it hurts all our children. I'm gonna tell you why. We have so many of our folks who don't know their own history, who don't know the struggle that preceded their parents' generation.
But isn't that our fault? Because I always go back. I call the Bible my children book.
Yeah.
Even God said, or whoever said that we need to educate our own children. And as you've seen during the pandemic, OPS closed.
Yeah.
Those that were educated, everybody that was responsible for our children, only one that didn't close was the daycares.
Yeah. Because they needed cogs in the machine. They needed the people to go to work. And so they became educators. And but they have to know in order to educate. And so
I agree with you. So why aren't we, since we're talking about Black history and hip hop, because education, hip hop is education too.
Hip hop is the best way to educate
right now. There's monies for daycare. I think up to $1 million for their thing, so they can build their capacity. You're very connected on the government side with the food side, like schools. All they gotta do is get a couple certified teachers that can teach K through 6.
Yeah,
that's how. So I know what's called First Sky. I watch them. They're talking about Precious. They're talking about charter schools the other day.
One of these napkins got my nose running.
Like, go ahead.
Oh, you got clean.
It's a clean.
Oh, bless you.
It's a clean one. And so
thank you.
So they're talking about charter schools. But to me, we can't. If another pandemic come, OPS close again.
Yeah.
Our kids are already about 2 years behind after missing 2 years. Well, they're probably about 3 years because they missed 2 years of school.
Behind what though? Behind what?
Behind what? The pandemic?
No, they're 2 years behind what?
See, this is math, English, everything. They're behind on everything, and then y'all praising the leadership at OPS,
first of all,
or other educational institutions. And
I'm getting ready to throw this at you.
Go ahead.
Okay. Our education system, in and of itself, its purpose is flawed.
Okay.
The premise behind education in this country is flawed. And when we talk about behind, and I asked you behind what, it's because the purpose of education in this country is to make sure that the United States of America continues to be the leading economy in the world.
So that means we got to be a working economy, less intelligent, and so we are working.
We're working. Economy. So they're creating worker bees.
So I thought that wow.
And so when we talk about the purpose of education in this country, that has to change, because what's happening right now, and this was just on the news this morning, that in terms of psychological damage and all of that, Black children, specifically Black male children, their suicide rates have skyrocketed. Overall, teenagers and children are depressed. And why is that? It's because the capitalism in this country is sick, because all they want is worker bees. And our children are being exposed to things going around the globe because of the internet. You cannot do rote learning with them anymore. You can't tell them something, have them regurgitate it back on a test and think you've taught them something.
Right.
And so when we talk about education in this country, I wrote a proposal for a candidate that was running for office in Pennsylvania. And so in order to write that, I did some research of education systems in countries around the world.
Right.
And consistently, Japan and Finland kept popping up in the best of this and the best of that. And top tier.
You said Japan?
Japan, yeah.
Okay.
And when I researched them, Japan doesn't even start with academic education until they're about in the 3rd grade.
You said what again? Say that again?
They don't start with academic education until the 3rd grade.
Okay.
Prior to that, they are teaching manners, empathy, how to coping skills.
Okay. Discipline.
Teamwork.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. How to manage disappointment. All of those kinds of things.
Same thing we learned at the boys' club that they.
but they teach it in schools every day.
Wow.
They don't have cafeteria workers. The kids cook and serve one another. They don't have janitors. They clean the buildings. They clean the bathrooms.
Okay, so they share it in the work. So they got
Right.
so everybody's not selfish, and or
Right.
they expect that someone else to do it. They're better than them.
Right. And so all that, I took that piece. I'm like, that
Mhm.
is so incredibly important, because one problem is our kids do not know how to cope with loss, disappointment,
Mhm.
embarrassment,
Right,
anger.
right?
all of these things. When life happens,
Mhm.
our kids are lost.
So you agree with the social general
Well,
that we kids should have social media then before 13, because like their mind is still developing then.
I firmly believe that social media can be a tool,
Okay.
but it needs to be managed by the doggone adults. We are adults for a reason. They are children for a reason. We have to manage that. But the thing I learned about Finland, when we're talking about the education of our youth, they only go to school 4 hours a day.
Okay.
One of those hours is spent in play and recess.
Heck yeah.
Because children's brains only absorb information for a certain amount of time, and then they're done. You're just talking to be talking. We're still on a very agrarian system in terms of time children spend in school. What they want is children to spend all this time here so their parents can work, can be the cogs in the machine.
Right.
Okay. So all of that having been said, when the pandemic hit, my suggestion was that we shut everything down and have kids pick up the following year instead of trying to teach them through Zoom.
Right. Way more frustrated. They had the technology.
Right. Just
money,
let kids
all
be
of this
kids. Let them
Let's play and play.
Yeah.
And then educate them like we do on a normal basis. Discipline
in the
manners.
house. Have them with grandma learning how to cook and measure recipes and stuff.
Right.
You could have had them out in the garden working. There were ways we could
all
have
kind of product, woodworking product, all types of product.
The arts.
Yeah, everything. You're right.
Everything. And so my thing is,
I guarantee you we'll be more happier.
Yes. Yes.
For real.
Our kids should not be forced into these structures that are not conducive to how their health works, their bodies work, their minds work, and just so the parents can put in an 8 to 10 hour service day.
Okay, so in those societies, Finland, I forget the other one, Japan, what are their work weeks like for their parents then?
That's another thing. Remember way back when our elders would take care of the children so the adults could work?
Yep.
That's what.
Oh yeah. So
it's family structures.
Yeah. So y'all put your people in nursing homes and stuff. You know what I mean?
The elders had a purpose. So when we talk about when we talk about school, we set these hours. And it partially had to do with when unions lobbied so that children could not be forced to work. It became illegal for children to work.
Okay.
But
most of them worked on farms though, right?
So, but when we industrialized, they had children in factories for 12 hours a day, and so they legislated that. Then it was like, well, what we gonna do with these kids now that we need the parents in these factories for 8 to 10 hours a day? And they're like, oh, well, we can keep them in school and then put them in an after school program or daycare after school. But we need to make sure. And the folks that couldn't afford those after school programs and stuff, they became the latchkey kids. And then, of course, our crime statistics show crime is higher between 3 and 6 when the parents get off from work because the children are not being occupied.
Right.
So I'm like, we have got to do better with coming up with solutions for these problems. And I think that they kept raising the retirement age, so people could draw their Social Security.
Right.
And so the elders couldn't be at home. You realize grandmas now aren't grandmas like we had because they got to work till they're 67.
Right. So 2 days ago, when I first got back from Denver, I didn't see my grandkids. So I hung out with them. You know what I mean? But normally they had to go to daycare, go to school. I think I kept one. He just hung out with me, and we just did grandpa and grandchildren things.
Mhm.
They played. I fed them.
Just you telling
You know,
stories
model like a
to
man.
them.
I model like a
Yeah.
man, and you know what I mean. And you know, discipline.
Yep. When they
Show
ask you
love.
questions,
Right.
you're there with this wealth of knowledge and experience from a familial perspective, and it's done out of love that they're not getting in these schools. And so I don't care how many superintendents we have, I don't care how many Department of Education heads we have, until we make a fundamental shift in the purpose of our education here. Rather than creating cogs for the machine, we need to create happy, healthy adults.
Okay. Well, we need to get in touch with Poulin, our new governor, because it seemed like he wants to put some money towards education, and maybe he's open to some different philosophies. I got a call from Lincoln. Is this the governor? Is this the governor? Hello, how are you? It's not the governor. But
It's not the governor.
I got close. It was Lincoln, y'all. It was Lincoln. It was
Uh-oh.
close. See how I work with this guy. I was working with us. So no, but I think that's a great initiative, because we got to look at some different methodology in education.
And
We
teaching
can't.
through the arts.
Yeah,
There's no better educator. You know how you learn your ABCs with a song.
Heck yeah, hey, A, B, C, easiest 1, 2, 3.
Hello?
Heck yeah.
Even the original, that A, B, C, D, E, F. We learn through art. You know, I use film with discussion afterward to teach young people. I started that at Network Inc. when I first met Felicia Webster. I would take a film, and it may not be 100% correct, but then we would discuss the discrepancies. And I guarantee you, those kids remember that to this day. They remember what happened to Pocahontas.
Right.
They remember, you know.
So it's even better than reading a 50-page book that they're not gonna remember everything on.
Well,
so sometimes
are they gonna read it? That's the key.
Right.
What happens is we tend to give quizzes to make sure they're reading. I would say, more importantly, is give them things and encourage them so they want to read it. Testing people for grades to make sure they read it. You're going about it all the wrong way.
Right.
You know, I never forget. I was given Lord of the Flies when I was in high school to read.
Okay, I don't know what that is.
It's
Lord
a
of the
book.
Flies. Okay.
It's a book, Lord of the Flies. And I went home with my grandmother. I said, I have no desire to read about these little white boys stranded on an island. And the way she broke it down for me, she said, baby, look at that. That's the ghetto. That's what happens when people are marooned in the ghetto. And I was like, oh, well, let me read this book and see.
Okay.
So it's not race necessarily that creates these problems.
Right.
It's isolation, it's poverty or lack, and a lack of leadership.
Right.
So yeah.
Okay. I had an email from a gentleman from yesterday. He wants you to get involved with autism. So he reached out to me. So
yes, I will be contacting him. I've got to send him some information. But
yes,
indeed.
you guys information.
Yes, I do.
Okay. See how we connect. You know, we share. See how we supposed to share.
Yep. The thing is, when we talk about that's about the DEIA stuff I'm working on. I'm starting a company called Indivisible, and because what's happening, I've realized, is all DEIA is a bunch of policies and procedures in a manual, a zero tolerance policy, and that's about it.
You get it copying from the other companies.
You take a single workshop, you know, this is what unconscious bias is, this is what it means to be diverse, and then what ends up happening for people of color, for LGBTQIA people, for disabled people, for neurodivergent people, for women, is that there's a lot of tokenism. You know, the way Miss Willie was describing it yesterday at the luncheon. Yeah, it's like you're invited, but you can't sit with us. You know, it's it's that kind of thing. And so what's happening is all of our potential, our talent, ideas, and all of that are not being honored. And we feel like we're shuffling every day, because woe unto the black, brown, whatever person that makes white folks feel uncomfortable. And that's the problem, is we are always going into their spaces under the auspices that we must not make them uncomfortable.
Is that some subconscious So,
Oh yeah, it's about assimilation.
Yes, conscious
Yeah.
and subconscious, because we do behave differently. Well, we actually
Code
we
switching.
code switch all the time.
Yeah, we code switch.
Mhm.
Black men have to almost shrink in order to make it in these spaces.
Yeah, well, you know, it's tough being a black man right now.
It is.
And you talked about the suicide rate amongst black boys. Omaha is the only area in the country where the incarceration rate went up for black boys and black men. It's actually lower than in other areas of the country. The incarceration rate for black men is actually lower than white people everywhere else, but only in Omaha, Nebraska. And so I feel the not love. I feel it for my own people too.
And we got to stop with the lies that are being told to everybody, but they specifically are very, very detrimental to black people. The fact that black men aren't present. That's a lie. That's a lie. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because Judith Hill over at Omaha Healthy Start, when she was running, what was the sub program?
No, it wasn't. For a Lifetime.
Well, that's part of it. That was part of it in Omaha Healthy Start. She said, based on the criminal justice system, where you're yanking black men out of the community, the way you have set up the welfare system, the way you have set up family dynamics, is one that does not really celebrate having black men in the household. But what's funny is they still there. They just there on the low. And she said, you go to any elementary school in the hood, who's dropping off and picking up kids? You'll see a bunch of black men.
Yeah, I take my son to school, pick him up all the time, without doubt. Well, we love our children. We love our children, and but then I talk about this all the time. You know that I only hear because we get so, and that's why I do my Father's Day concert, because even Halloween gets more celebrated than Father's Day.
Yeah,
and black men hear it all the time for a percentage of black women said, well, we only know no man. We hear it all the time, but you don't hear that in any other race of women. I don't.
Well, the thing is,
so it goes with that narrative, like you said,
that conditioning that is telling us that is foolishness. But the thing is, it's not that I don't need a man; it's I don't need that particular man, because you do need your uncles, brothers, grandfathers in the community, your church leaders. You do need a man.
But the reason why boys are committing suicide, because of course men aren't around, but also indirectly women are communicating that kind of language where indirectly it makes a boy feel worthless, and especially if the boy see different multiple men come in the house, he has no power to protect, even though he wants to protect. So I mean, so the boy is, and I know the girl, most of the young ladies are 3/4 are being molested by either their mother's
now
boyfriend.
Ladies do have to take responsibility for their behavior and how their household is run. But I do have to say this. The way our relationships have been so broken down over the past 450 years. And I say this is rooted in colonization. How our family dynamic is structured. It's very matriarchal. And part of it is because we've had to be matriarchal because of what's been done to black men. So there's that piece. The other piece is when they introduced the welfare system. The fact that black women get paid, I believe it's only 63 cents on a dollar to every man. The fact that we make less money, when you incorporate welfare, those two things, cause tension and strife. The number one cause of relationships ending, marriages going to divorce, is finances. And so if we look at it from that perspective, women are looking for someone to help provide. And when Black men are not able to do that, and we're going back to all of those conversations we had about
The reason why.
DEIA,
Right. Yeah.
because they can't get the job as college graduates where white men who don't even have a high school diploma are getting those jobs.
Yeah.
So let's be clear. This is not just,
So
it's an ugly system that's been set up. So what we
Right.
have to do as a community
Mhm.
is make sure that in the stopgap here,
Mhm.
that we have other men who are stepping up and not only helping these young boys and young girls that are being raised, but the ones who created those young boys and young girls. Because if they don't have support systems in place,
Right.
there's always going to be this intergenerational mess that
Right.
keeps passing on and passing on.
I don't want to forget this because I'm going to be starting something like this here in Omaha
Mhm.
on once a month in Lincoln. There's a Black male leadership breakfast. The brothers get together once a month. I've been going up there,
Mhm.
and it's always so great to have a different flavor of intelligent brothers in different category of jobs. And then, of course, UNL, they have some students up there. So you got the young, young Black students looking up to Black men for guidance. I mean, it's so powerful. And we get the chance to dialogue as men. We don't have to use all correct language and correct sentences. We can have a run on sentences. We don't have to go.
You can speak how we do at the house.
Yeah, without doubt.
Okay, at the house. Now I'm
Right.
sitting up
You know what I
here.
mean?
I got a degree in English. I got a master's in public administration and a master's in fine arts and poetry.
Right.
I know how to code switch like a mofo.
Right.
However,
Right.
when I am speaking with my young people, when I'm speaking at the house, Gertrude come out.
Right.
Gertrude come
Right.
right on out. And the thing is, we ought to be able to do that in other spaces without
Right.
being judged.
Right.
It's part of our culture. When I did a 30-page paper on Black English vernacular as an undergrad. And the fact is, the way we speak is rich. It's not substandard, it's rich. We have words that there's no equivalent to in the English language.
Right.
So when you talk about habitual be and been, there's no English equivalent to that. Why wouldn't you embrace that?
I don't care what I doubt.
That is major, and just what we've done in terms of hip hop. We went full circle.
Without doubt.
Full circle. The way they view American culture is actually African American culture and hip hop culture around the world. And so the way we speak in those songs is accepted English language around the world.
Okay.
So we have to make sure that these corporations understand that the way we speak is not inferior.
Without doubt, because they usually take it on in their advertisement.
Hello.
Let's get jiggy with it. I got the bag. I mean, so they'll utilize our hairstyle. I mean, they're pumping everything up with fake lips and other body
fashion, anywhere around the world. All these Korean pop bands, our dance styles, our fashion, everything. The way we speak has been taken by other cultures all over the world.
So now you educated. How long is it? Is it because we self-hate? Is it because we self-hate ourselves? Is that the reason why we can't get along with each other, or try to work with each other, or lie on each other? All the things that we talked about, all the things that we are doing to stop our own progression. We're not talking about the exterior forces.
Well,
but we're not talking about the government laws, the laws. We're not talking about what happened in the past. We can't change what happened yesterday.
That's the colonized mind, is all.
Right. So how can we change that colonized mind? Because I believe, if we keep practicing Christmas and keep practicing Easter, how are we gonna get rid of the colonist minds if we continue to practice all these rituals
if you keep
that create the colonist mind?
Well, those are extensions of Christianity.
Well, that's part of the colonist mind.
And
because they came with a sword in the Bible.
And the Bible, yes, indeed.
And the Muslim, they came with the Quran and the sword. All one came with
the Abrahamic religions.
Right.
Let's just say that.
Also, use a big word. Now, what does that word mean?
Abrahamic religions are the three major religions: Judaism, Islam, and Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody who knows biblical history knows that the first 5 books of the Bible are the exact same in the Quran and the Torah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so those 3 religions share that same foundation.
Right.
So when we talk about colonization, first of all, those religions came out of northeastern Africa and part of the Middle East. Okay, that's where they were born. They were usurped, that's the best word I can come up with, by Europeans when it began to spread that way. And cold climate cultures are really big on control.
Yeah, we see right now they're in war right now, ain't they?
Yes.
They're always in war.
Oh, I hate that white on white crime.
Yeah.
Cold climate cultures are very controlling cultures. If they can't control it, they're afraid. And so what they did is, with reference to the Bible, you have to study biblical history, not just the Bible itself, to understand its evolution.
Okay, see, I need to talk to you more because I like the way you said that, Corey, because you got to cross-examine in order to find out the validity in it, correct?
Not necessarily the validity of it. It's the way it has been used to control populations.
Okay.
And so certain rules, guidelines, regulations, and rituals were created in order to do that. A lot of it isn't biblical.
Oh, it's not.
Right. And so when we look at the Catholic Church, the Catholic Church changed the Sabbath from Saturday to Sunday.
Right.
Right. You know, it's, and then we get into these rituals. And, you know, and one of the main things it says in the Bible is not to judge, and we some judging fools every time we
every day. We got judges everywhere, don't we?
But that comes out of control.
Okay.
And we had a whole Spanish Inquisition, which was about control. It was about controlling women, primarily. But we have to get out of that. I don't care if you're Christian. I don't care if you believe the Bible and read the Bible. That's not the point. It's just please know the impact of some of the actions and behaviors being perpetrated in the name of. More death has been caused by the 3 Abrahamic religions around the world than anything, any disease, any war, anything. Those religions. And so, you know, looking at from a spiritual place, you know, I think the Bible is the greatest historic document we have.
So you think that they, because I call them children books, because like you said, they all 3 of them create weapons of mass destruction, but they always say that they believe in God. But do you think God would be doing all this?
I believe, if I'm to believe in a loving God, I cannot believe I think a lot of this is allegories to teach us life lessons. And we're not getting the life lessons. We're down in the minutia of what was said and trying to use that to control other people.
Interesting. I was watching a show that come on, and it was about the devils and the angels. It come on TV. I forget I forget what it's called. But the angel, which angel that God dispelled?
Lucifer.
Was it? I thought it was Michael or one of them.
No. It was Lucifer.
Okay. So Lucifer talked to his other angel, and it was
that he expelled from heaven, right?
Yeah.
Yes, that was Lucifer.
And Lucifer said to this angel, I was watching on TV, I forget the name of the show. They got the 2 girls, they witches, or they be and so he said, did you know why? Have you asked? He said he asked the other angel that worked for God. He said, do you know why I was expelled from heaven? Have you ever asked God? He said, you know why? Because I loved him. He said, I loved him so much that when he created his little man, I didn't want to bow down to his little man because I love God. And he said, but he expelled me because I loved him so much. And he expelled me. He said, does a crime fit the punishment? I said, dang it.
Yeah.
I said, there's
so much confusion,
you know what I mean?
with reference, because Lucifer means the light of God.
Right. So when it comes to religion, it's so twisted. It's so you don't know what's the truth.
And I I beg people to really look at some of the stuff in the Bible. Really take a second look, because we look at Judas.
Mhm.
I'm gonna use that as an example.
Mhm.
Everybody hates Judas because he betrayed.
No, I think Judas was used for a purpose of God. That's
Right.
why
He was a tool.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But if you ask most people,
Mhm.
you know, would you name your child after Judas? No, you know,
Mhm.
he betrayed Jesus for 30 pence, you know, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
And so the thing is we all know it was God's plan that Jesus would have to be crucified.
Mhm.
And he said, whoever I give the sop bread to is the one who's going to have to do this. He handed it to Judas.
Oh, so Jesus picked Judas.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, so
Uh-huh.
okay.
And so he was like, the one I had hand the sop bread to it has to betray me, will betray me.
Mm-hmm.
And he handed it to Judas.
Mm-hmm.
Judas knew he had a job to do. He was tasked by God. So what I'm saying is, if we don't look at these things in their entirety,
Mm-hmm.
and really start to ask the major questions,
Mm-hmm.
there are certain words that are repeated hundreds of times in the Bible. That's what God wants you to know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you know, if you are doing good works and trying to be a better person because you're afraid of hell, you've missed the point.
Right. Right.
You missed it completely. But we're all off on a tangent.
All right.
I think that education is the key.
Mm-hmm. Without doubt.
And always be asking questions, and look to your artists. Artists are global thinkers. They're not
Without
local
doubt.
thinkers.
Well, you know, actually, I think you're a visionary. You can see the future.
I don't know about that. I've made some better decisions in my life. I could see the future. But what I do know is that I'm curious.
Yeah, without doubt.
I'm curious. And so if I don't know something, I want to go learn about it. If somebody tells me something that I don't agree with, but they do it with such verve and such passion, I need to know why.
Yeah, without doubt, because it might have some validity in it.
Right.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so we've got to get that instilled
Mhm.
in our young people. That
Well,
that need to
curiosity.
learn, that
Right.
need for that yearning for knowledge.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Uh-huh.
So that's 50 years of hip hop, y'all.
Well, I'm going to close this out with something extremely important with reference to the history of hip hop and why we are celebrating it.
Mhm.
Besides jazz, which came out of a similar culture,
Right.
it's the only truly American born art form in the past 50 to 60 years.
Mhm.
And so when we look at hip hop, we have to understand that these people created this because they were hungry.
Had no opportunities.
They were hungry. They were hungry for not only economic freedom,
Mhm.
they were hungry for the knowledge of their craft. They were always improving upon it and making it better.
Right.
And that's what I want young people to understand. I don't care what your craft is. I don't care what it is you want to do with your life. Always be improving upon it. Always be asking the questions, how can I do this better? And be around people who are curious as well, who also yearn for knowledge. Put yourself around those people.
Without doubt.
Mhm.
Without doubt. Today is Love Yourself Thursday. Be purposeful today on loving yourself.
Mhm.
Usually I hang out with my grandkids, but I had them Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, so I need a break. So today I'm gonna love myself.
You know what? I got a sort of grandchild I adopt from my big adopted baby Corey,
Mhm.
but yeah, so far my kids know she ain't grandma material. Not yet, anyway.
Okay, so I'm part time, but I love when they call me Papa, man.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm in another era of life. You know what I mean? My mom used to call me man. Now my grandchildren call me Papa. Oh man,
Oh.
life in the city, y'all. Oh man, I'm
Uh-huh.
telling y'all, love yourself today, no matter
Yes,
what it
indeed.
is. If you like ice cream, go get a custard. Oh yeah.
Mhm.
If whatever it is today, you go read a book. It's a little chilly outside. Turn the heat on and go down to the lake and look at the frozen lake. Whatever you want to do.
Can
Whatever
I
you
do
wanna
a
do.
shameless plug?
Go
real
ahead,
quick?
shame me.
Okay. Again, I'm on put this out there. My DEIA workshop is February 27th from 11 to 1 at
We're gonna have her
Benson
come back.
Theater.
We'll have her come back.
Yeah, and then I'm wearing some of my homemade house-made jewelry. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, and you can find it at the Culture House.
Okay.
Yeah, or at Sunrise Couture in the old Market Passageway. So yes.
So you got a couple side businesses. She mentioned like 4 businesses she got. She mentioned about 4 businesses. Well, she like Mrs. Side Hustle.
I am.
So that's a good thing. A lot of people have manifest greatness out of this pandemic. I know we always want to focus on the negative, but a lot of greatness was created during the pandemic. We wanted to make sure that you continue to create that greatness as Mademoiselle has instructed us to. Continue to educate yourself. I'm a car catalog dude, and so I'm used to going to the library and cross-referencing.
You just really dated yourself. The car catalog. There's these young people like, what?
You know. I know y'all used to Google, but you can't trust Google all the time because even they are getting investigated right now because the algorithms that they're using to control people's minds.
Hello.
So Omaha, the Birds of Bluffs. We're gonna bring Michelle Trosclair back again. You can catch her sometime you still on First Sky, right? I know you got your picture up there.
Yeah, we're going to be doing something new. So we're working on a new format for me.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
good.
for First Sky Omaha.
So they come on Monday, Wednesday, Fridays in the morning. So I watch them. We started our own new morning show. Also, my man P Minor, baby.
Oh, not P Minor, baby.
Yeah. P Minor, baby.
I haven't seen him
6 a.m. to 10 a.m. He's right here with us. I'm here from 3 to 5. Right after myself, we got my man E-Dub. And then after that, we got another live show from 7 to 10, Mr. Soul Show. So we're going to be bringing you more content all year without doubt. Without doubt. Anything that we did not discuss, we want to make sure we get across. You want to just recap your event that's going on?
Oh, yeah. Okay, for February, we got first coming up this Saturday and Sunday, the DJ battle over at the Culture House. Get a hold of Marcy Yates if you can and figure out tickets because I forgot the link. But yeah, Culture House has tickets to that. It's 11 DJs going head to head. Then the winner of that will be performing on the 12th. Before that, however, February 8th, we're showing Crush Groove. We are inviting everybody to wear their 80s gear, their hip hop gear. Y'all know what that means. Bring out them Kangos. Yep, and them ugly jogging suits. And then we have the concert featuring Light Pole, Thailand Music, and Marcy Yates with the winner of the DJ battle that will be spinning on February 12th at Benson Theater. The show starts at 7 p.m. Doors open about 6:30, so get there and get your seats. The next thing we have is my class, The History of Hip Hop, at the Culture House from 11 to 1 on February 19th. Make sure you come out for that because, honey, I'm a hip hop head.
I am too.
Man, I'm a hip hop head. So there's that. And then, of course, February 22nd, we will be showing the lecture documentary by KRS-One with a Q&A after with Houston Alexander and myself. So, yeah, we got lots going on.
Yeah, without doubt, I'm glad that adults are doing something for the young people, create conduits of opportunities for the next generation. And if we as adults aren't creating conduits of opportunities for the next generation, why do we exist? My mom always said, how can you hurt a child? How can you hurt a child? And so, as Miss Trosclair said, education is the foundation, y'all. We got to make sure that we expose our young people to the greatness that's within them, but also take them to introduce them to new doors that they might be afraid to go into.
Take them to the theater, take them to museums, take them to concerts, take them to the park, to the forest. There are so many ways we can educate our young people. Take them to a farm. It's so important that they get out of the classroom and learn, because what's going on in that classroom, as we see with Ron DeSantis over there in Florida, may not necessarily be the truth.
Hey, without doubt. But I love your philosophy. And I did want to ask this question. So do you support charter schools?
On paper, I do. In practice, it becomes about money again.
What do you mean money?
The way they're funded becomes a problem. So, and that's a whole nother conversation.
Because I know Iowa, because the governor over there has been very purposeful to making sure that they have diverse diverse
Mhm.
streams of education,
Mhm.
public, private, but also if you want to create your own niche. And
Mhm.
I think this is
Mhm.
necessary. And as parents, we should have the control of controlling the education of our children. And if they, like they did in Florida, if they don't want to learn, then it's our responsibility to
Right.
teach.
I think that we go to Finland's model where they're in a regular classroom from 10 to 2, and then they go to a charter school of some kind that the parents choose. That way you have the best of both worlds. I think public education is extremely important in exposing young people to children that don't look like them or don't share the same beliefs.
Right.
It's also, I think, an excellent way to learn those things that have no objectivity or subjectivity, rather. So they can go there and learn math. They can go there and learn, science and things like that.
Do you think the best school that they closed, the best methodology was a technical school, like Tech High School?
Yeah.
Because it had every for those that didn't survive in a 4-year institution versus those that can survive in a certified.
Not everybody's college material.
Right.
So this was my proposal I sent. I said kindergarten through 3rd grade should be teaching nothing but those things they teach in Japan.
Okay.
They need to learn how to garden. They need to learn how to cook. They need to learn how to clean, how to be empathetic to one another, learn coping skills when things don't go their way, when there's a loss or a disappointment or an embarrassment. They need to be learning those things, how to service others, how to be of service. And then once they hit 3rd to 6th grade, that's when they teach them all their academics. You learn reading, writing, math, basic science. When they hit middle school is when they start dibbling and dabbling in things, required to dibble and dabble in different areas to see what they like and what they excel at.
Right. So electives and stuff like that.
Right. It's all electives.
Right.
And so they can then get in, I really like drama, or I really like sculpture or pottery. I really, those kinds of, let them dibble and dabble there. And then when they get to high school, that should be track education. Your schools, this is the arts school. This is the science school. This is the liberal arts school. This is the STEM school, and then they can choose what track they want to be on. I firmly believe that young people are really good at choosing what's best for them in terms of a lifelong career than everybody else, because they know what their interests and passions are.
Let me ask you a question. You said, do you got your PhD?
Nope.
You got master's and all that stuff? Are you going to be applying for the next superintendent job?
I am not.
Well, we need to encourage you to apply for the next superintendent of Omaha, Nebraska. Michelle Trotclair, I call her here right here.
Bless your heart, but I don't like the politicking.
Half a million, you can do the politics.
I have no problem with giving my ideas over.
No, I think that's a great philosophy. Of course, empathy, cleanliness, the ability to agree to disagree, all those things, all the techniques that you talked about is so important in the early stage of life. And they always say that the first 0 or whatever is the most where you learn the most. And if we could love to learn each other and appreciate each other in that foundation, then we'll treat each other as we grow.
And your reasoning skills are put in place during that time. And so as you move forward in academics, you're able to understand the why better. Right now, our young people I have to learn this because.
Yeah, I felt that way too.
Yeah,
I felt that way. But I love school. But we got to do something different if we're going to make sure that we, stay with our young people, because our young people are very intelligent. We're going to have to.
Why did I have to take algebra?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, I never took. I took algebra and geometry. I haven't still used it. I still haven't. Well, I think I probably use it when I'm on a basketball court. I go this angle versus that angle.
Now you're talking geometry. You went to a whole nother math. But algebra, I can tell you this: logical linear thinking comes out of that. But teach that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I did like algebra because it was logical, and I love Mr. Spock. You know what I mean? So. Omaha, the Birds of Bless, we are blessed to have Michelle back in our community. She is a great teacher. She is a great teacher. And I love her. 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 And I l make sure you guys follow up this weekend over at the Culture House and as well as at the Bissett Theater. If you haven't had a chance to go to Bissett Theater, just opened up. It's a beautiful facility.
Man.
You can even have some spirits over there.
Oh yeah, we have a full bar over there. And if you want tickets to any of the paid events, you can go to bensontheater.org and pick whichever, or you can get an overall ticket, which will allow you to go to all the events that are paid.
Okay, cool. Well, Omaha the Birds to Bless. All the music that we play here is from here. And the next song we got, it's Sin. You know what? I'm gonna play Smile. We want y'all to smile every time. So I always got, sometimes they call me Revenue Hope, the only hope you got.
I like that.
Because everybody want to be the top religion. Y'all want to be the top preacher, but I'm the top preacher around here. But I told Reverend Perkins, I'm gonna leave y'all alone this year. I'm gonna leave y'all alone. However,
I am not.
However, yeah, she's not. However, see,
I am not.
I can bring my sidekick in. Yeah, I didn't say I cannot bring a sidekick in just to kick some butt.
Let me tell you, I got some questions, comments, and concerns.
So, so this year, I tell everybody, last year was Robin Hood. This year is Godhood. And so I'm gonna be polite. I'm gonna pray for me, but we gotta step our game up for real. And so
work together.
Yeah, we gotta work together. We're gonna step our game up, but also make sure that we share, y'all. That's what share information, share our knowledge, share our prayers, and sometimes even share our economics because Michelle's a businesswoman, I'm a businessman, and we got to start cycling dollars within our community.
Yep. Again, my jewelry is down at the Culture House,
right.
or in the Old Market at Sunrise Couture in the Passageway.
Without a doubt. And so as we deal with this inflation and high eggs and all this other stuff.
Eggs are ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, eggs are higher than gas. A gallon of gas, ain't it? Eggs are higher than a gallon of gas.
It used to be that was your poor man meal.
99 cents for
you can boy scrambled egg sandwich.
Right,
did I say sandwich?
Yeah, sandwich. Yeah, that's right. She said sandwich.
That was poor man's food. You could put an egg on something. You got your protein.
Yeah, it can survive. It can survive.
Yeah.
But I know it's getting tough out there for everyone. So my man Willie Hamilton over at the Commodity Center, they're giving out food twice a month. I think they can maybe get out even one more time a month. Also, Heart Ministry Center, right down the street from us on 24th and Wirt, between Wirt and Benny. They give out food 6 days a week. And so please do not suffer in silence, y'all.
Oh, I've used the pantries. I'm an artist. There's times when it was down, especially over the pandemic. Ain't no shame in my game. My kids like to eat.
Yeah, without a doubt, y'all. So do not suffer in silence. Do not let your kids go hungry. Don't do that. Because I say that because I grew up in the projects, and if we knew a family's about to be evicted, we had a rent party. We didn't let them be evicted. We had a rent party.
That's what I'm talking about.
We had 50 cents going there. They had the peanut butter sandwich. They had the bologna sandwiches. We paid for that. They had the Kool-Aid. Come on, y'all. We danced. We did the bump back then. Oh yeah, that was the dance that was out back there. The bump. You remember the bump?
Of course I do. Wait, I was young, and my brothers used to have these little get-togethers in their little basement where they had all these record albums and they had naked women on the walls and stuff. Anyway, they would have me come down for their friends and show them all the latest dances, and I do the bump and all of that. Yeah.
Right. So we never let our neighbors. We knew everybody needed help. We didn't backstab and talk about them.
Yeah.
And we kept our word. Cause I remember going on many doors, Miss Turnstile house, Miss John's house, such house, and we got some sugar. My mom said we don't have the sugar back on a certain day or eggs. We had it back there. Our word was bond.
Yeah, I think now since we have technology, there should be a way where, right now the issue seems to be rent assistance and utility assistance, and the low income energy assistance program. That I think is extremely helpful. Match has been extremely helpful, but they make you jump through so many hoops, and they want your firstborn and all of that in order to get these funds.
Right.
And people typically don't ask if they don't need.
Well, right.
Come on.
I had some ideas for that fund. That fund actually should be higher.
Mhm.
And actually, if everybody actually donate to the fund, it actually could pay everybody bill. If we do collective economics, no one
Yeah.
would have to actually pay that actual whole bill. What's
What's going on with that black bank over there at Carver? They need to have a fund set up that people can just donate to, even online, anonymously, whatever, and be a recurring donor. Say $5 a month.
Right.
How many people live in Omaha? Black people.
Yeah, people living in Omaha, period. I mean that
It's about 65,000 of us.
Man, I think it's
70.
I think it's between almost 100 because if you include the new immigrants from Africa,
Okay, if you include all of those, and we all gave $5 a month.
we have enough for everybody.
Uh-huh.
If you elderly, it's similar to
Mhm.
the Homestead Act.
Mhm.
You get your bill paid for because we know you're not being trying to manipulate nobody.
Hello.
If you're on welfare or wherever,
If you're on a fixed income at all, because you got disabled people, and if you're on a fixed income at all, and rents have gone through the roof, and wages have not kept up. Wages are still low. They said for us to really be able to make a living wage, we're at $22 an hour. Who out here making $22 an hour that doesn't have a master's degree?
Right.
There's a few, because there's some fields you can go into without having a college education that pay well, your trades oftentimes. But how many of us truly are working those kinds of jobs that make over $22 an hour?
Right. So we got to think about the future. I know all this money is coming down, and people they're talking about building all these big industrial parks and stuff. But what I'm worried about is there's gonna be white construction companies that's gonna be getting that money
because our kids are not in the trades.
Right. And then also, if we're not training the workforce this year, who's gonna take over those jobs in 2 years? So no one's talking about that. Are we training the workforce?
We don't have Gateway anymore. We don't have CETA anymore.
Right.
There were some variations on those programs introduced, but they're not the same. Those programs trained electricians and plumbers and mechanics and roofers and welders and drywallers and all of those people. And what I see now is if you look at those unions, they're all white folks. They quit the recruiting in our neighborhoods. And that's a problem. They started telling us to go to college.
Well, you know what? I did visit, dang it, I think they're oh man, I'm gonna reach back out to them because they did ask for some help. I did go to a union off of F Street. Oh man, they got it always nice in that mug. I mean, they got
the unions.
I mean, and they actually looking for women and blacks, really.
Yeah.
But sometimes we gotta be proactive. You mentioned that they won't allow us to pull up a chair, but Shirley Chisholm, she said, "I'll bring my own chair."
I bring my own chair. And I want kids to really start looking into the Peace Corps too. And the reason I say that is the Peace Corps will allow you to travel. They pay all your living expenses and a stipend. Okay. What a way to see the world.
Without doubt. Military, we get off the, since we're talking about Black History, my mama, she told me one day she was picking cotton. And she told her brothers and sisters, I'm not going to be picking cotton all my life. And she went to Biloxi, Mississippi. That's where she met my father. My father was in the Air Force, and my mama was fine. Because they got married real quick.
Yeah.
Well, back in the day, I think they got married real quick anyway.
Well, and real young.
Yep. So it's probably like in the 40s, 50s, something like that. And so,
yeah, because you old.
Yeah, I'm older. Yeah, I'm old, 58. And so we want to encourage, you to push your children to the military also. Everybody's not going to go to war. There's many different jobs in the military.
I have some issues and some qualms with the military, but
yeah, it got us off the plantation for real. And without the military, I wouldn't be here. My dad never went to war.
And it will get you out the projects for sure. And they do provide education opportunities and things.
And I know a lot of black men have retired from military getting a pension. They have retired from and they get 2 pensions.
Yeah.
So, and they never went to war.
Yeah.
However, war is a part of it, and usually that's in
do National Guard.
Air Force usually you have to worry about usually on drones. Air Force.
And y'all should be experts at that with these video games.
Right. Right, without a doubt. So,
Yeah.
but parents, we can't allow, because we know they're kind of
Mhm.
all these isms,
Mhm.
and there's
Yeah.
you know, the black man here in Omaha, Nebraska is the most endangered species. I
Yeah.
got the statistics.
Mhm.
So since we're in that environment, we
Mhm.
should let our children suffer if they can't get a job.
Yeah.
I remember when I graduated from college, I had a degree, and I was home crying every day to my mama. They won't give me a job. 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 And they wouldn't give me a job. And if I finally got a job, I don't know, probably after like 4 months looking for a job, I got a degree.
Mhm. Yep.
So if I went through it, I know other people are going through it. And
Yeah, I would get jobs, but I can't keep them because I'm mouthy
well, you got to run your own business then.
and I'm bossy and I'm gonna do what I want.
Yeah, you got to run your own business. That's why you run your own business right now.
That's why I do contract work.
Okay.
I keep trying to go back and get real jobs, and then when I'm a couple months in, I realize I don't like it.
Okay, so you see like your independence.
Yeah, and I think a lot of our young people, because and getting back to my DEIA stuff, the way corporate structures are put in place, they're based on white people stuff. And we don't fit well in those molds. We just don't.
Mhm.
We are passionate. We are free thinkers. We are creatives. We are, we think outside the box all the time, and they keep trying to put us in the box.
Mhm.
And when we don't go in those boxes, then they throw negative stereotypes on us, and they lower their expectations of us. They and when I say we are the products of low expectations,
Mhm.
what I mean by that is because of those stereotypes, they think there are so many things in corporate America we can't do, we're not capable
Mhm.
of doing. And that's not true at all. It's that you won't listen to our ideas, our methodologies, our processes, and embrace our cultural perspectives in these things. And so, and if you're truly about being diverse and being inclusive and equitable and giving all of us access, if you're really intentional about that, you will start embracing those things about people who are not cis white men.
Do you? I had someone said, William, you know, sometimes people take advantage or take you for granted.
Mm-hmm.
Do people take you for granted sometimes?
I don't know. It used to be because the things that they set up place in corporate America, in any corporate job I've had,
Mhm.
I'm always trying to find easier ways to get the job done, more efficient ways to get the job done. And so at the end of it, what I'm doing is in an 8-hour, what used to take 8 hours now takes 2, and they dump more stuff on my plate, busy work on my plate. So I'm there 8 hours.
Mhm.
And then when you talk about taking for granted, then those things that they have dumped on me are now my responsibilities.
Mhm.
And then I get overwhelmed and I leave. So I think that is true of so many women, and specifically Black women, because we are doers. Women in general are doers.
Mhm. Mhm.
You'll find a lot of male-run companies are surrounded by women
Mhm.
because they get stuff done. And what I'm finding is that with reference to Black women, is we have so many different ideas and
Mhm.
ways to get these things done,
Right.
and they're not being embraced.
So you
Mhm.
don't, you do feel you've been taken for granted.
Mhm.
I know I felt
Mhm.
I've been taken for granted. And it was sometimes it needs to be clarified. Sometimes you
Mhm.
got to hear from another person's voice
Mhm.
because no one wants to feel taken for granted.
Mhm.
You
Or
know what I
taken
mean?
advantage of.
Or taken advantage
Because
of.
sometimes they do take your ideas
Mhm.
and pass them off as their own.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna say this, and this is gonna start a whole nother argument for a later show. I found a lot of times Black men in positions of power do that to Black women.
Mhm.
And I think that we need to have a meeting of the minds behind closed doors or at our
Mhm.
kitchen table, so to speak, so we can understand that there is misogyny within our own culture that hinders the progression of Black women. We're not in competition, y'all.
Without doubt. Look, I was going to ask you this question earlier when you had talked about the Bible.
Yeah.
And you seem like a very good astute to the Bible. You seem like you can lead a congregation or something if you wanted to.
I know my Bible.
Right. So, but you also tend that we also have that view that women can't lead the church or something like that. That's what they teach, but
that also comes from the Catholic Church, by the way.
Okay. See, okay. So, to me, everybody think God is a man. I don't think God's a man.
No.
I think God's a woman because
I don't think God is either.
Well, I think the male God and the female God.
I think God is a non-gendered entity.
So it's only been amphibians, and a couple of plants that are asexual.
Well, God creates balance in absolutely everything. There's balance. From the smallest microcosm in the ocean to what's going on with reference to air, everything has balance. Human beings threw monkey wrenches in the balance.
Right.
So for every man that, he created male energy and female energy. He created all of these things for balance purposes. We assigned roles. We assigned all this other mess that isn't necessary. If we look at what each of us brings to the table, okay? When you talk about strength, physical strength versus emotional strength, there's balance.
Yeah.
When you talk about having two parents in the household, it's for balance.
Without a doubt.
And so God is all about making sure that the earth he created, that all that he put upon it spins on into perpetuity. That's why we are able to learn and grow and evolve. And so I think he's given us all the tools that we need to be a successful species. We keep getting in our own way.
Without a doubt. And since we're going back to one of the greatest songs ever created, Self-Destruction.
Oh,
we're talking about self-destruction.
Hip hop classic.
Make sure you guys show up this weekend. They're gonna be at the Culture House over at the Benson Theater. We gotta get out of here, y'all. My man E-Dub is coming up next. Well, I want to thank Michelle Trosclair for coming over. I don't know what plantation she come from, Trosclair. I don't know where they're from. The King Plantation. We down in Alabama and Arkansas. So
I can tell you exactly. Now, the Trosclair name, that was my husband's name.
Okay.
And they were out of just north of Port Allen, Louisiana.
Okay.
And they know the family that owned them.
Okay.
Personally. Yeah. So the Trosclairs, it was the Trosclair. There was a misspelling at one point. But anyway, you can go back all the way to the 1700s. With my husband's family, we can go to the cemetery and see all of them. So anyway, that's that. I did trace my plantation back to Georgia to the Gaither plantation.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Cool. I went. And I tell everybody, if you're up north and you've never been down south to your relatives, I went to a funeral. I went to my cousin funeral, and I walked around the graveyard, and you see 1800, early 1917. I said, wow. I said, man, there was slaves down here for a long time.
Yep.
I mean, so you appreciate your life, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, when you talk about, especially along the coast, those are the oldest ones, because where the ships landed, those are the oldest ones. When you talk about around in Florida, Louisiana, the coast of Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, all the way up into Maryland, people forget where Maryland is, where Washington, D.C., Virginia, that was
slave.
all slave territory.
Right now, sure. Hey, we built all that. We built all that.
And people also forget that the Kansas-Nebraska territory was slave territory.
Mm-hmm.
People forget that.
Right.
And we were the catalyst behind the Civil War, because it was the Mason-Dixon line that was dividing the North from the South, and what states would own slaves and which ones wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we already gave the South Missouri, and the North said, you can't have the Nebraska-Kansas territory.
Right. And
they were like, BS, because we already own the slaves over here. So that's what kicked it off.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Omaha, the Burbs of Bluffs. We appreciate you guys on this on this Love Yourself Thursday. Be purposeful today on loving yourself. Without a doubt. Remember, no one can love you more than you.
Yes, indeed.
Without a doubt. So my man E-Dub coming up next. Let's let me get this thing started. All right. Boss with us, y'all.
Maybe I can give you chills. We've been on a tragedy for months. Why can't you agree with me for once? Yeah, maybe we can be more chill now. Maybe I can give you chills.
I'm getting mine like fine wine, measure the time. Many other brothers love you, but this pleasure is mine. There's no pressure for us to say that I love you for now. So that comfort, that is one that's be comfortable now. For real, who you loving, who you want to pull up? Who don't care who you dating, as long as you care and you trust.